It's the dream of every cricketer, the ultimate glory. Few manage to keep their date with destiny. But for many, it's been heartbreaks and a cross to bear. The Holy Grail is here in India. I'm Rupha Ramani, and Firstpost brings you the ringside view. We bring you the Cup of Dreams. Cricket World Cup coverage like never before.
The champion!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani, and you're watching Firstpost. Now, a few upsets can make a tournament exciting. Predictable is often boring, and who doesn't like a few surprises thrown in occasionally? The Cricket World Cup saw another upset in Dharamshala last night, and after the Afghanistan victory that Delhi celebrated with great fervour, the World Cup has truly entered the next phase. This is where teams that started well need to consolidate, and this is the phase that will have some bearing on the ultimate points table. A few key points lost could make all the difference. On that note, let's get you on what's lined up in our show today. Now, we've seen the second big upset at the Cricket World Cup. We tell you how Netherlands-South African connections helped bring down the Proteas in Dharamshala. A look at some of the key contributors in Netherlands' win and their cricket legacy, an exclusive interview as well. India gears up to take on Bangladesh in the Cricket World Cup. The match is in Pune. It's another chapter in the intense rivalry that we've seen over the last few years. We go down memory lane and look at some of those fierce face-offs from the past. Memories that are singed in the minds of the fans. And we look at another sport that has been included in the LA 2028 Olympics. It has massive fan base, and no surprises, it's making its comeback to the Olympic stage after sporadic appearances over decades. We tell you all about baseball and softball's history and some of the players who made a mark in this sport. Let's also show you all that's making the headlines from the world of sports in Sports 360. In football, Argentina beat Peru 2-0 in the World Cup qualifier match last night, and injured Lionel Messi made a comeback in style after being off the field for over a month. Messi scored both the goals for Argentina in the first half itself. Meanwhile, Brazil were handed a 2-0 defeat by Uruguay in their World Cup qualifier. Darwin Núñez and Nicolas de la Cruz scored the goals for Uruguay. Brazil's captain Neymar suffered an injury in the 44th minute. Let's shift the action to the Euro qualifiers. Two European football giants were head-to-head yesterday. England beat Italy 3-1 in a high-octane encounter. Italy started off strong with a goal in the 15th minute, taking the lead. Then captain Harry Kane scored twice for England. Forward Marcus Rashford netted another goal for England to seal the win. England have now qualified for Euro 2024. The Pakistan Cricket Board, or PCB, has filed a complaint with the International Cricket Council, or ICC. This is over the behaviour of the crowd in Ahmedabad during the India-Pakistan match. In their complaint, PCB says that the conduct of the stands was inappropriate, the fans rather, and unfriendly towards the Pakistani team. The ICC is yet to make a formal statement regarding the incident. Here's a story that'll brighten up your day. Irish cricketer Catherine Dalton has taken up the role of fast bowling coach with Pakistan Super League team Multan Sultans. Dalton will now become the first woman to assume the role at an elite-level men's team. Apart from breaking wickets, Dalton will also be breaking stereotypes in the upcoming T20 season in Pakistan. An actor and Oscar winner, Michelle Yeoh, has been elected as a member of the International Olympic Committee. Yeoh, who has been a goodwill ambassador to the United Nations, was elected on a 67-9 vote count. She was selected along with 7 other new members. Michelle Yeoh is most popular for her appearances in blockbuster movies like Memoirs of a Geisha, Crazy Rich Asians, and of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it was everything, everywhere, all at once for Netherlands. We're starting the show with the second biggest upset at the Cricket World Cup, and that is Netherlands beating South Africa. After shocking the Proteas in the T20 World Cup last year, the Netherlands has successfully handed them a defeat in the ODI format too. This is their biggest win till date in this format, and what a victory it was. But the story we will speak about today is not really what transpired on the field, the runs scored or the wickets taken, but the people who orchestrated that, manifested that and worked towards it. The story of the field. We are going to show you how the South African connections helped the Netherlands topple South Africa in Dharamshala. The first one, coach Ryan Cook. His brother Stephen Cook and father Jimmy Cook have played for South Africa. Ryan Cook's very first assignment, in fact, in 2013, was as an assistant coach to the South African under-19 team that travelled to India. That's where it all began. His journey as the Netherlands coach did not begin in the most desirable circumstances. He had to take over from Ryan Campbell in 2022 after he fell severely ill. And Cook's first match against England was the rudest possible welcome anyone could receive, with the team almost breaching the 500-run mark against Netherlands. From there to beating South Africa in the T20 World Cup last year and qualifying for the World Cup here in the one-day format, beating West Indies in that mammoth run chase, has been a massive turnaround in itself. Now the second connection, Gary Kirsten. Ryan Cook reached out to Gary Kirsten, the coach of the Indian cricket team that lifted the 2011 Cricket World Cup. Ryan corresponded with Kirsten on mail requesting inputs, advice and any guidance on the venues and how to play in India. Now, I've worked with Gary while at the Indian Premier League franchise Gujarat Titans, and he's one of the finest coaches when it comes to man management, mental conditioning and understanding people. Gary Kirsten, in fact, wrote back in great detail explaining about the different venues, how to tackle them and what it takes to win in India. One thing Ryan Cook says that struck with him, and I quote, "Cricket is a team sport and you need the brilliance of 11 to win a game. A couple of good performances should not be enough." And we are now joined, of course, by former Indian cricket team's coach Gary Kirsten. Thank you so much, Gary, for taking your time out to do this. My first question to you is, you know South Africa quite well. How do you see them recovering from such a loss? Where do you see them going forward?
Yeah, listen, I think it certainly was not a great result for them. But it's early days in the tournament. They've got 2 wins under the belt. So, you know, I suspect that they will come back stronger. I think it was great for the Dutch team, actually. You know, they're newcomers, not newcomers, but I suppose they're not often in positions where they're playing against the best teams in the world, you know, all the time. So it's great for them to have an experience. But they've proven now over 2 World Cups that they are very competitive, and they're not just a team that's going to sit back and be walked over. So, you know, because I know the coaching staff really well in the team, you know, I know that they put a lot of planning into this game, and you know, things have got to fall into place. But I think they've got a great spirit and camaraderie in the team. A lot of those guys have been playing for a number of years with each other now, so oh, it was great to see.
Now, we did hear from Ryan Cook himself saying that he really received a lot of help, a lot of guidance from you right to the lead up of the World Cup. You've sort of helped them, mentored them. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth, Gary.
I mean, we're chatting to each other every few days. You know, we're good friends, and he certainly has been a coach that I respect hugely as a young coach. I mean, I remember the days not so long ago when he was coaching a school team in Cape Town, and I know that he's got this growth mindset. So he's developed and progressed as a coach very quickly. He's got an incredible work ethic, and he's got a good understanding of how teams work. So it was no surprise to me that he was going to do well as a coach. And then, yeah, our conversations really, it's not about me kind of, you know, adding value. It's more just about us having conversations around how his team can perform at the best, you know, in the World Cup. And we were shooting the breeze, to be honest with you, just talking about various conditions, different places in India, what are the different types of soils that you're going to be confronted with. And, you know, just very generic stuff that we all talk about anyway. But I love his attention to detail, put it that way.
Right, but before we let you go, we have to ask you, how do you see Netherlands moving forward from here? How do you see their campaign turning out after this particular win?
I think they're gonna be a few more upsets. To be honest with you, they've got some confidence in their game now, and I think they've got enough resource and skill in their team to put other teams under pressure. I mean, the 2 games that they lost, they weren't far away, you know. So they've got the confidence knowing that they can beat big teams. So, and I know that they will be really well prepared, and I know they'll have, you know, great spirit in their team because they know that they can beat big teams. So I think every team is going to now put a lot more effort into their preparation against the Netherlands, which is great for the game. I think the brilliant part about Afghanistan and the Netherlands winning games against the big test-playing nations is it opens up the World Cup completely. You know, we know now that, you know, it's not easy for everyone to get the 7 wins, the 7 wins that guarantee you a place, you know, in the team. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how India go. They look like a formed team at the moment, you know, playing really well at home, and they look like the team out of everyone that's the most difficult to beat. So it'll be interesting to see how they progress through the tournament.
Well, we'll pick your brains for more on that later. But thank you so much, Gary, for speaking to us. And we continue to tell you the story of the Netherlands team. Now, there are moments that define you in sport, moments, matches, and sometimes even losses. For the Netherlands squad, having to qualify for the ODI World Cup itself is what truly defines them. The turning point was probably that match against West Indies. Ryan Cook says, and I quote, "When we were chasing 374 against West Indies, I told the boys at the break, look, we chased down the Nepal's 167 runs target in 28 overs, and if we can just double that, in the last 20 overs, we have a chance." We tied the game, and then, of course, Logan Van Beek blasted 30 runs in the super over. In fact, ahead of the ODI World Cup qualifier in Zimbabwe, the Netherlands team had a mental and cultural camp in Cape Town. Everyone was asked to speak about their aspirations, what they wanted to see in the team. And one of the things Bas de Leede reportedly said was that, let's go to India and show them we are not pushovers. Which leads me to the third connection. Roelof van der Merwe, born in South Africa, played for South Africa. Some of us may even remember him sporting that green jersey. He has featured in the Indian Premier League. He's among 5 players in the Netherlands outfit currently who were born in South Africa. He was not in the scheme of things when it came to the World Cup qualifiers, was not even in the squad, was called up for the World Cup here in India. And what a key inclusion he has proved to be. It is tough to have a lot of incentive at 38 when you are in a side that is looked at a team that's just there to make up the numbers. But to play the way he did last night, contributing with both bat and ball for a country that he only made a debut in 2015, Roelof van der Merwe stood up as a senior hand, living up to the words that was delivered by Gary Kirsten. That is what the Netherlands team stands for, to fight against the challenges of the physical rigors, as in the case of Roelof van der Merwe, of the unknown as it was for Ryan Cook, of the tag of minnows as Bas de Leede says, or that of circumstances. Did you know that Paul van Meekeren was a food delivery guy in 2020? He ruefully tweeted back then that he should have been playing the T20 World Cup. He says, I should have been playing cricket today. Now I'm delivering Uber Eats to get through the winter months. Funny how things change. Keep smiling, people. And that be smiling about today, 3 years later, after taking 2 wickets to dismiss Aiden Markram and Marco Jansen, how life truly comes a full circle. That's the story of sport. You can go anywhere, but you can't quite forget your roots. Sometimes the very roots help you attain the best, like the connection to a country you were born in. And other times it's the roots that are holding you back, which just spurs you to unshackle, break free, and beat the odds. The word Netherlands literally translates to lower country, situated below sea level. This Netherlands team surely rose above that and punched above its weight. Now moving on, India is gearing up to take on another South Asian cricketing giant, Bangladesh. Now what started off as a friendly sibling rivalry has turned into a high-stakes competition. Until 20 years ago, India and Bangladesh were the best of friends in cricket. India often tried their best to give Bangladesh players more international practice. The BCCI also was extremely vocal in vouching for Bangladesh's test status in the year 2000. Bangladesh became a phone call for the BCCI when it came to cricketing matters. At some stage, Bangladesh started emerging from the shadows of India. The Tigers no longer wanted to be seen as younger siblings to the men in blue. Over the years, Bangladesh began to expand their horizons and started producing young cricketers that brought the X factor to the game. Their fighting spirit added to their obsession to beat India in all formats of cricket. But India still lead Bangladesh in World Cup wins. The men in blue have trumped the Tigers thrice in 4 head-to-head matches. Now, the two teams will meet again on the greatest cricketing tournament. Hundreds of Bangladeshi fans are expected to fill the stadium. Hordes of sports broadcasters from Bangladesh have arrived in India to cover the game. The pot is brewing for an intense cricket face-off. So let's take a look at some of the most competitive moments between India and Bangladesh.
It all started at the 2007 One-Day International World Cup. India batted first and were rocked by Bangladesh seamer Mashrafe Mortaza, who took 4 wickets. Then spinners Abdur Razak and Mohammad Rafiq cleaned up India's batting order. 6 of India's lineup was sent back to the pavilion with just single-digit scores. The next-gen cool cats of Bangladesh led the chase with their aggressive batting. Tamim Iqbal, Shakib Al Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim went on to score half-centuries as the Tigers beat the men in blue by 5 wickets, and Bangladesh had arrived on the world stage. If 2007 lit the fire, the World Cup of 2015 fanned the flames of the India-Bangladesh rivalry. For the first time in their cricket story, Bangladesh had made it to a World Cup quarter-final. In their way stood the men in blue led by Mahendra Singh Dhoni. India batted first and put up a mammoth total of 302 runs, with Rohit Sharma scoring 137 in his innings. However, when Sharma was sitting on 90, he was caught at deep mid-wicket only to see the umpire rule the delivery a no ball, a decision that was deemed controversial by Bangladesh. When the Tigers began their chase, they were bowled out for 193 runs. India had won by 109 runs, but Bangladesh had been left with a bitter taste. During a bilateral series between India and Bangladesh, there was an on-field collision that portrays this rivalry. Earlier in the innings, Bangladesh bowler Mustafizur Rahman had the Indian batting order in shambles as he took quick wickets. But during his spell, he made attempts to block Indian batters from taking runs. Debutant Mustafizur came in front of Rohit Sharma when he was running between the wickets. Sharma warned the bowler from obstructing and even pointed a finger at him. When Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni was on strike, Mustafizur tried his antics again. He appeared to drift into Dhoni's path as the Indian captain was taking a run. But instead of dodging Rahman, Dhoni ran into him and shoved him away with his forearm. Something only India's Captain Cool could take on his shoulders. Mustafizur left the field for a bit before returning to complete a 5-wicket haul on his debut. But the collision between Dhoni and Mustafizur had riled up the crowds, and it became a focal point in the India-Bangladesh rivalry. Just 1 year later, India and Bangladesh faced each other at the T20 World Cup. A very strong bowling attack had shocked India as the men in blue ended up scoring just 146 runs. But India held their ground and took the low-scoring game to the wire. It was the final over. Hardik Pandya was bowling for India. Bangladesh needed 2 runs from 3 deliveries. On the next 2 balls, Pandya picked up a wicket each. Now Bangladesh needed 2 runs with 1 delivery to go. Even a single run would have tied the match and taken it into super overs. Pandya bowled a wide delivery. Bangladesh batter Shovagat Home swung and missed as the batters scampered to draw the match. But they couldn't beat Dhoni's sprint from behind the stumps. He flicked the bails off before the non-striker could make it to the crease. The Bangladesh team and fans were left in tears after Dhoni's photo finish to the stumps. After the shock of the 2016 game, Bangladesh were up against India in the 2018 50-over Asia Cup final. Opener Liton Das had powered Bangladesh to a modest score of 222 runs as the batting order collapsed. Bangladesh were depending on an aggressive bowling attack to win the trophy. India started off slow and were rocked by an early wicket. Bangladesh bowler Nazmul Islam took the wicket of Indian opener Shikhar Dhawan and celebrated it by dancing like a snake, a dance that's commonly known in South Asia as the Nagin dance. India went on to win the match by 3 wickets. But the dance mocking Shikhar Dhawan left a bitter taste between the two sides. Now they are going to face each other again. What started off as a sibling rivalry is now a fierce competition. And fans will be eager to see the fire between Bangladesh and Team India heat up the World Cup even more.
Now, yesterday we spoke about cricket and lacrosse being included at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Joining them will be baseball for men and softball for women. This will be the 7th time that baseball will be played at the Olympics and the 5th for softball. This at the grandest sporting event. Now, both the sports were most recently played at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, with Japan winning the gold in both baseball and softball. Now, you must be wondering, what is baseball? How is it different from softball? And are the two sports popular enough to be included in the Olympics? Now, let's decode the sport for you. Baseball is a bat and ball sport. It became popular among children in the United Kingdom in the 1700s. By early 1800s, the sport was being played in the US and Canada, two of the biggest supporters of this game. It's very simple. It has 9 players in each side. The teams take turns batting and fielding, very much like cricket. The only difference in terminology is that the bowler is called the pitcher. The objective of the team batting is to score runs. There are 2 ways of doing that: run counterclockwise to all bases, or if the batter sends the ball straight into the stands, it's called a home run. As for the fielding side, they have to ensure that the batters are not able to score those runs. The pitchers have to get the batters out. If a ball that is pitched over the base plate and the batter misses, it's what's called a strike. And 3 times that happens, the batter is out and he's declared struck out. Now, some of the most prominent baseball players through the years have been Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Derek Jeter and Bryce Harper. So how different then is baseball from softball? It's not a lot of difference. Softball has the same rules as baseball, but it's played by women. The ball is larger and the ground is smaller. The pitchers have to undersling their deliveries, and overall softball games move at a faster pace when compared to baseball. Both the sports are championed the most in North America. But they have gained popularity in the Caribbean and Asia. Some of the most prominent players, in fact, here in softball are Nodoka Harada, Jenny Finch, Monica Abbott and Vilma Alvarez. Cuba and Japan have emerged as 2 powerhouses in baseball, and it's thanks to the World Baseball Classic, an international tournament that was played between 2006 to 2013 in order to increase the sport's popularity, and at least 16 nations took part in it.
That's something positive. They are very happy and very motivated to go to the Classic. I think it's something good, and it's going to be very positive for us. They are going to help us a lot on and off the field. I think it's going to be something important for us.
Now, baseball and softball have gotten so popular that they are special scouts now who recruit players at a very young age.
The
country's top talent from different categories, mainly the under-23, the older category, under-18 and under-15, are concentrated here. Close to 80 players are participating today. Talent scouters from different clubs have been observing this showcase, mainly from Asia. South Korea and Japan and the WBSC have also sent scouts for a future project. Also, managers from the Dominican Republic and Ecuador attended as well.
For sports enthusiasts, any sport that gets recognition is a welcome sign. And we are very excited to see baseball being included in the 2028 Olympics. Because with all the turmoil that's going on in the world, we feel that sports truly can be that uniting factor. Now we've come towards the end of the show, so it's time for Last Serve. We leave you with Brazil's football star Neymar. We always talk about footballers and sports stars bringing joy to especially the kids. Take a look. This after he got injured. Despite that, bringing some joy to a fan, always a sight to see. That's all we have the time here on Firstpost. Thank you so much for joining us once again. I'll of course see you tomorrow before we head to Dharamshala. But take care. Bye-bye.